What happens when you mix horror, comedy, with a couple guys who play Dungeons and Dragons? Stay tuned to find out. Good morning, welcome back to another edition of Drotalks. Dro here. Today we're going to be talking about Shingles, which is a collaboration of a group of authors who have a podcast called Authors and Dragons. So straight off the bat, what do I think about Shingles? Do I recommend? Don't I recommend? I recommend. A solid book. Listener be warned. Some of these titles are not so tactful. Remember, 7th grade, fart jokes. Bring your expectations down. There you go. So, the first book is The Ghost and Hooker Ellie, which was written by Robert Brevan, and this one was narrated by Cassandra Miles. So this story is a short story following two children that are trying to get their mom back, where they encounter a ghost of a hooker in an alley. That ghost can possess people via her ring being placed, and it is a very awkward journey. A lot of disturbing but hilarious items passing along their couple day. I think it takes course over about 3 days, and at the end it accumulates in a very happy story. Actually, this was probably one of my favorite. The next story is Gary's Children. So Rick Gualteri wrote Gary's Children. This was narrated by Cal Wembley, and Cal Wembley narrates the rest of the books from here on out. So we'll keep that in mind. So this book follows Gary, who is a very stressed out office worker, has a very horrible boss, and his form of stress relief is that form in private, which, you release. And the story centers around a magical item to help him release said stress, and it ends not so good for Mr. Gary here. So it's kind of very hard to give. These are very short stories, so it's kind of hard to talk about it without giving it away. This was cringeworthy. This was probably my least favorite story. Not that it wasn't good. In the sense of cringeworthiness, this was probably the best one out there. The third story is The Monkey Penis. I warned you. 7th grade level. Bring it on down. Fart jokes. All the rage. And this revolves around a play on the story of the monkey paw, where you get 3 wishes. They come true. If you remember the monkey paw, an individual wished for $1 million, and some of their family died, and they got $1 million inheritance. Bad juju. Got to be very specific. So this takes a play on that. Instead of a paw, it's a stuffed monkey penis. And there you go. This was actually a pretty good story. It had some cringeworthy moments, just like Gary's Children, not so many. But it was definitely a nice, tight story, and I really liked the way it ended. So this was also narrated by Cal Wembley. So yeah, The Monkey Penis. I forgot to mention that The Monkey Penis was written by Steve Wetherell. So the next story was Aliens Wrecked My Kager. And this was written by Drew Hayes. So Drew Hayes is one of my favorite authors of all time, and I expected his contribution to this book, this anthology, to be the best. And it was good, and I really enjoyed it, but it was not the best, not by a long shot. So, but it was good, and this takes place of a fraternity. Yeah, fraternity. And they're planning a party, and it centers around 2 brothers and their friend that's dumb as an ox, big and dumb as an ox. And as you can guess, aliens crash their party, steal some kegers, they go back to retrieve it, and beer Olympics. And that's all I'm going to say. This was a good story, and I really liked the way it ended. So, yeah. No, not really any cringe-worthy moments in this one. This was this was probably the most clean story of the lot. So Drew Hayes this is the PG version of the rest of these are like rated R and above. The next story is Zombies Ate My Homework, and again narrated by Cal Wembley, and this one was written by John Hartness. So this one was pretty good, actually. This was a nice, unique take on the zombie genre. I mean, basically this could have been a chapter from The Walking Dead. It was funny, especially where they decided to make their last stand. And I think that's enough I'll say about that. This was a solid story. The final book in this anthology is The Legend of Jimmy Headshot, and it's written by Rick Gualtieri and narrated by Cal Wembley. This was probably between this one and the first one were my two favorites. I would have to re-listen to them to determine which one was the best. This takes place in what I would like to think is the same zombie universe as the Zombies Ate My Homework. But this centers around Jimmy, who's a PC gamer, part of the PC world, and he's obsessed with the zombie apocalypse. And he's prepared, and when it finally does arrive, he takes charge. He takes control from his parents, and he's a jerk. He's a jerk, and it centers around him, his mom, his dad, and his little sister, and how they survive or don't survive through the zombie apocalypse. And this one has a very awesome twist that you kind of saw coming. I'll be honest, I saw this coming, but I didn't see it coming to this extent. And I really enjoyed it. I thought this was a good way to end the series. So what would I give this anthology as far from the story? Well, I would give this a 3 out of 5. Now, what would I give narration? Both narrators were exceptional. I mean, they were really good. They brought you into their world, and they had fun with it. You could tell this is a fun, lighthearted story. So for that reason, I would give them a 4 out of 5. But definitely, wow, they did a fantastic job. Now, listenability. I've only listened to this once, and this is pretty new. This just came out. I definitely see me listening to this again, and I actually see this becoming kind of a tradition, a Thanksgiving tradition, probably a Halloween tradition. So for that reason, I'm gonna give listenability a 5 out of 5, because I can see this becoming a yearly listen, because they are funny, except for Gary's Children. I'm sorry, that one's getting skipped. Cringe worthy. So I give us an overall score of 4. Definitely do recommend, so check this series out. That has been Drotalks. Thank you for listening. Hit that like and subscribe. Ring that bell to get notified. And before we see you next time, don't forget I have a competition going. All you need to do is be a subscriber. Old, current, past, future, new, tense. And then all you gotta do is like one of my videos, comment on it, and you'll be in the pool. I'm gonna be giving 6 Audible book credits out just in time for the holidays. You can re-gift them. They'll come in a gift, and you can probably forward that gift to anyone you want, or you can enjoy the goodness. For good audiobook references, check out my videos, and I'll talk about how we're going to do that giveaway in an upcoming video, explaining exactly how that's going to work. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.